All right, good afternoon, Asiedo. Please unmute your mic and let's talk. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. So, I don't know, we're going to continue, Sha. There's no time for us to start waiting. So, later on, if they come online, they can decide to join, and as well, I'll be recording the class. So, welcome back.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so I was yesterday. Hope you were able to study after the class.
I went back to most of the things that I got, like the V binder and the V else, but I was not able to really research on what we did. But I went with the speech to speech, but because of my network, in fact, I was not really present in that class.
Oh, okay, no problem. So, yes, this class was to me, Sha, it was something I didn't really enjoy the class due to the fact that I was in a noisy environment and we were running into issues all the time and so on and so forth. Well, at least we were able to do the class. That's just it. I don't want a situation whereby we miss the class. That's what I'm trying to avoid. So I had to run from work to home because at my workplace there was no light, so I had to run home and all this also and so and where I am the place is always noisy, so I just have to, do something. But thank God, like at my workplace today now, there's light and everywhere is cool and calm, so we can do something. And also, yesterday when we started the class, remember when we started our VueJS project and all of those stuff, something was not working well. Um, when we rendered and mount and do all of this stuff, it didn't work. The reason it didn't work was because there was a comment at first. And if you notice, that HTML comment I did was showing something like dash dash greater than symbol. So that was the reason. After the class, I just went there to see what happened. Then I deleted that comment and it started working. So I think that was the reason, Sha. But nevertheless, as time goes on, so like I said, today we'll just do revision of yesterday's work, then combine the knowledge of what we've been learning, then try to build something with VJS. So the most important thing to note is this: in VJS, we have the data property, also the method property, and so on. So let's just do something. So what will happen there? Remember what we've been doing ever since. I've not been able to like push to GitHub so that you guys can go over them because it's just scratch. You get. So we're still going to be applying those stuff. So I will get expansions from the W3 schools, go along. Then I'll create a new folder. Now, in fact, I won't just create a folder. I'll create a GitHub repo because creating a folder, I'm being lazy to push it. So let me just create a repo now. So this will be view project. So let me just create the repo. Um, so I'll say Zuri view projects. Alright, so this is it. Zuri view project. So no need to add description. Let me just create it like
So,
this.
so are you sharing your screen?
Oh, you can't see my screen. Oh,
Yeah, I
I've
can
not
see your
started.
screen.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I've not started sharing. I'm sorry, my bad. So I guess you can see my screen now.
Yes, I can see.
Okay, so like what I just did, I just created a GitHub repo. I didn't add README and all of those stuff. There's no point in adding all of those things. So now what I will do, remember you attended GitHub class, right? Huh? You attended GitHub class, right? Are you sure you
I
are
don't.
with me? Let me see.
No. I know how to use GitHub, but I don't think I attended. No, I didn't attend the class. I don't. But I know how to
Uh,
use GitHub. I know how to
okay,
use
so
GitHub.
you can create a repo.
Yes, I know how to create a report.
Okay, yeah, that's what I just did, just to create a repo. So I want to create a repo such that after coding, I will just push to the repo. No need to because if I create an empty folder, I'll be kind of lazy to push it later on. I will say I'll do it before you look. I'll just to skip my mind. So let me just create a repo now, which I've done. So I want to go and clone this repository. Okay. So remember, this was our yesterday's stuff, right? So this was it, zero review. This was what we did yesterday. But now I want to create I want to clone this repo and push this. So the project we'll do today, this is what we're going to be using. Hmm. So it's just a git clone. Remember this command, right? So after cloning, let me add it to my workspace, add folder to workspace. So I'll say Zuri view project, right? So let me just show you the end product of what we are building, the end product of this project. It's just a, what's it called? I don't know why this thing is always blocking. I'm coming. Why is it always blocking? Okay, good. This is it. It's just a random user generator. This is what we are building. So, okay, I think the reason it's not working is because it's not here. So let me add it to my workspace. I'm coming. Let me add it to my workspace. Okay, this is it. So if I right click, open with live server. So this is what we are building. So like I said, it's just a random user generator. Whereby if I click, to generate a random user, right? So all of those dynamicity we learned about yesterday, we are going to be applying them. If I click it to generate a random user. Now these users, they are not being outcoded. They are being gotten from an API. So I will drop the endpoint and everything. They will be on the code that I'll be pushing to GitHub. And also, if it's a female, it will have a pink border and a pink button. If it's a male, it will have a blue border and blue button. Look, this is a female, this is a female, this is a male. You get. So this is also what we are doing. So as simple as this, we'll get the understanding of some of those things we talked about yesterday. Teaching a crash course is really kind of somehow because I want to do an example, but then I still don't want to do an example. So something like that. But if I learning with a project, we see how to apply them and all of those stuff. So let's go back and start. So like I said, I've succeeded in creating the stuff. So let me copy the Vue.js link, like what we did yesterday. So I've copied the Vue.js link. So this is the empty stuff we created. So I'll create an index.html. All right. So sorry. I will create my boilerplate. I guess you're familiar with this. Then I'll do this. Then inside of my project structure again, I'll create a style.css file and a script.js. So I'm going to be doing everything from scratch, both the HTML, CSS, and everything. So now inside of my HTML, what did I want to do? I want a div with an ID of app, right? Then before this ID of app, I want okay, let me put the H1 inside. Hmm? So I'll just say H1, I'll say random user generator using Vue.js, right? Then after this, I will link my script to this. I'll say script. Let me use source, then script.js, right? Then let me also link my CSS style. I will say link column CSS, okay? Let me take this one up. So good, we are good to go. So you can decide to change the title. This doesn't really matter. So let me just do something like random user generator. So if I save this, I will split my screen into two. So that one part will be for so for now, what I will do is that I will copy part. Remember, something is already running on my live server. So let me just copy part. So this is what I'm having. So now let's go back to coding. Now, if you remember yesterday, the very first step we took in connecting our Vue.js is by creating a div with an ID of app. So this is the div ID of app. Then we'll go back to the script file. Then we'll do something like const app. Remember, like I said, this is just a variable name. And this is go to view dot create app, right? So this is what I'm using. I'm using the create app method. Then after that, if I want to render the app, I need to do something like I will say app.mount, right? Remember the trademark of an ID is hash, so I will say app. So by the time I do this, if I want to check if it's really working, I can come back here and do something like template, right? Then inside of this template, I can do something like h1 and say hello view, right? So by the time I save and reload, um, let me come back here and remove this guy. Oh, sorry. Remember, I'm not using live server again. I'm no longer using live server. So can you see that the LOV is rendering? Remember, I did local this thing. I just copied the part. because the live server is for the other one that was already running. Don't forget. So I had to reload my page before it works. So that's for that. But remember, I said something yesterday. Even if I come here and define a variable, let me see inside my data. Remember, I can't just define any variable. I must define inside the data. Then I will return a statement, right? And if I do something like name, then I do something like GB. Right? If I do this, I can as well come here and render this name, right? If I save and reload, this is what I'm having. Hello, view, then the GB is there, that variable is there. But creating a template like this is really difficult. The reason is because you can't really write all of your HTML inside your JavaScript. So I'm not going to be using this approach. So rather, what we'll do is by doing something like this, create view, then mount it to this app, such that by the time I come back to this place, I can now access that variable by using something like this, curly braces, then the name variable, right? Remember your data. Okay, don't forget. See what I'm having, a random user gen using VueJS, and that GB variable is still there. So I guess you are following. I guess you are following. Okay. Um, so let me continue. Now, this is random user gen. So first of all, our let's go back to yesterday's work. What we learned yesterday. Let's go back to yesterday's work so that we get an understanding. If you remember very well, we talked about data. We said data are those things that we run as soon as the app renders, right? Then for methods are functions that need to be called, right? So if you look at this now, I'm creating a CLO function inside of this place, and I'm running this console log. Is that not so? So that's for that. Now, inside of my HTML, from what we did yesterday, I had to use a button, then use a v on method, sorry, v on directive, then click. Remember, we said the directives. What they do is that they work in hand with what is it called, HTML attributes, right? Remember when we did something for class, we are using v bind and class. Then anything that has to do with an event, maybe on click, on this, on that. So those events, you use the v on method, right? So please take note of that. So what are we going to be doing today? First of all, I need to create a data because this is what we are replicating. We're replicating something that has an image, a name, an email feed, and a button, right? So it's better for us to bring out that template first. Now, how do I do that? It's just to come back here. I need an image, right? Then for my source attribute, for now, I'm going to leave that source attribute like that. I don't want to bring the image from what's it called? I don't want to bring the image through my HTML, right? I want to bring it through Vue directly. So, sorry, through the JavaScript directly. Then the next thing I will get is my H2. Let me just give this guy an H2, duplicate this H2. Then let me get my button, right? And now for the H2, I want this to be, let me see, first, last name. So that will be the first name and the last name. Then this will be the email feed, right? Then for my button, let me do something like get random user, right? So if I do this and come back to my page, and this is what I'm getting. So let's go and bring the image. So if I come back to my script.js, I can now do something like this. Now I want those feeds, so I'll do something like first name feed, and I want this first name feed to be an encoded value first. So let me just do something like John Doe, right? Then my last name feed should be something like sorry, my first name should be John, my last name should be Doe. Then my email feed comes an object. I need to comma separate it. My email feed should be johndoe@gmail.com, right? Then my next feed, I made a mistake, email. Then the next feed should be, let me just call this one gender. Now this gender feed, let me just use me first. Then my next feed will be let me see, picture, right? Now for this picture, let me do something like let me get a random image. The API we're using is HTTP. Okay, fine. I can't remember. Let me just go random user.me API. Okay, good. I've seen. So let me grab this link, then paste it over here. Random user.me CPI slash portrait. I think I'm supposed to slash portrait slash man slash one.jpg. So this will give me an image. Let me be sure here for it. Okay, good. That will give me an image. So what did I want to do first? All right. My first thing I will do is this. I've gotten this data, right? I need to render them inside of my HTML. Is that not so? So I can get access to the first name. So I need to remove this GB. It's no longer needed. I can get access to the first name. Let me do something like this. First name. Remember that's inside my data, so I can call it directly. Now say last name, right? Then for my email, let me just do something like this. Email, then I'll put a column, then I'll see email. Then for my button, okay. Then for my URL, now what am I supposed to do? I know you might be thinking that I am supposed to do something like this. Since it's a view variable, I can do something like this, then I'll get the image, right? But let's see what this will give us. Now, if I come back and reload my page, you can see that the image is not rendering, right? Now, what I'm supposed to do is that I'm supposed to use the view vbind method, the vbind directive rather. Now, I'm supposed to come here and say vbind. Remember, I say we are binding it using HTML attribute as well. So there is a source attribute for an image. Is that not so? So inside of those source attributes, I don't need to do curly brackets again. So I can just call the image, sorry, or picture. I think I call it picture. I can just call the picture. So by the time I do this and reload, you can see that the picture is coming out now, right? But now this thing is not looking so good. If you look at this one is styled. So let's go and do the styling. So for the styling, all I need to do is to remember there's a feed called gender. Oh. Remember, I'm having a gender feed here, but I won't make use of that. Now let me just take it down. I'll make use of the gender feed later on, but let's just see what we'll do. Remember, I said the gender is to change the color of the button and the border around the picture. So all I need to do now is to go back to my style.css, right? Inside of my style.css, I'm having a div with an ID of fab. So let me just say hash app. This is simple CSS, so I can say text align center, so that everything will be at the center. I don't think I need this live reload over here. So this will be at the center. And I can do something like margin top of 50 pixel, or let me use padding top. Um, Padding top of 50 pixel, right? Then what again? What again? I think that's for that. Let me just leave that like that. Then for the image, since it's a single image, no need to give an ID or any of this stuff. So I want the image to have a width of 150 pixel, right? A height of 150 pixel, and a border radius of 50%. And I also want it to have a border of let me see, 3 pixel 3 pixel solid, let me say solid black, because I'm not going to be doing anything with this for now. All right, so by the time I reload, notice the changes that are taking effect now. Then also I want the button to have a padding of 20 pixel to the 10 pixel to top and down, and 20 pixel to the left and to the right, right? Then I also want, should I increase the font style? Let me see. Let me just redo this. Okay, I think it's better this way. I also want it to have a cursor of pointer, right? I think pointer looks more cool. So by the time I come here, I can click on this to generate something. So for the styling is done. Then also I want to give a class of mail. Now this mail class, I want it to have something like a border, a border of 1 pixel solid sea blue, right? And I also want it to have a background color of steel blue. So I want this for female as well. So let me just duplicate this. Then for female, I want this to be this, and I want this to be pink. Okay. Uh, so let me just leave it like this: male for blue, then female for pink. So by the time I reload, nothing is happening. That guy is not taking effect. So how do we make it take effect? If I come back to my script, remember we have a class of we have a gender variable over here, right? So if I come back to my index.html, I can do something without gender. So all I need to do is to go to the button. I will add a v bind, right, of class. If I add a v bind of class, and I can say I want the class to be equal to gender. So by the time I do this and save, you can see what I'm having. Now what is happening? A class name of gender, right? Which is I'm using this variable, this v bind now. Don't forget we're using something of view, something that is related to view. And in my view, look at my VueJS. The VueJS is gender, right? And this gender is me. And don't forget, this me is also a class in my CSS. That's why it's working that way. If I should come back here and change this gender to female, you notice that the pink color will come out, right? So please take note of that. So let me leave it as me, and I will come back here also. I want to give this guy a vbind class of gender as well to my what's it called, to my image. So by the time I reload, you can see I'm coming. Let me just increase this border to 3 pixel, right? Let me increase this to 3 pixel. So is this white black color visible? Okay, for female, I want it to have a black color, but for me, I want it to have a color of white, right? Because the white is not visible in blue. You get, so if I come back to my script, if I change this to female, let me see what I will get. Good, it's better this way. Yeah. So let me change it to male again. Um, good. I think it's more better this way. So that's for that about the CSS styling. So let me be sure you are following. Is there any question? If you have a question, please ask before we continue. I said if you have a question, please ask. If there's something you didn't get, just ask. Then after the class, we also go over the code again. Then through the method, we'll go to W3 school, check some things, and why we have to do it some certain way. You get. So please, if you have a question, ask before we continue.
So I'm following.
Okay, you're following. Not too
Yes,
fast,
sir.
not too slow, right?
No,
All
no,
right.
not
Thank you very much.
thank you,
Okay,
sir.
now what I want to do. Remember, yesterday from the class, remember I was making a mistake when we were trying to change the variable, right? Then someone asked about the method. That was how we now got the correct solution. So let me just take you back to yesterday's class. Remember, if I want to change this here, I need a method to change it, right? So now I will come back here. Method is one of the key view properties. So I will create my method, right? Now inside of this method, I will do something. A function can now come in. Now I want to say something like generate, or let me say get random user, right? Now inside of this get random user, first of all, I just want to console log. Now inside of this console log, I want to do something like, uh, let me see, console log. I want to say something like God bless. Okay, let me just do something like this. Now, the reason I'm doing this, I want to test if my button is working, right? So let me go back and open my console. Now, if I should open this console, change the view to something like this, so that I can be able to see what I'm doing, right? So it's clear this way. Now, if I come back to my index.html, how do I bind this to the button? Is it not by doing something like vbind? Sorry, v on. Remember, v bind is when I want to link a class and all of this stuff, but when I want to perform an event or an action, I need the on method such that it will now relate to something like on click, on mouse over, on this, on that. So if I say v on, I want to use a directive called click, right? Now I want to get the get random user function. So by the time I save, now when I click on this button, I need to reload first, don't forget. When I click on the button, come a v dash on, then click get random user, right? Let me be sure. Let me be sure the names are the same. I come to my script, get random user, right? Then I'm printing something on my console. Okay, get random user was accepted during that, but not defined in app. Okay, so let me reload again. Mm,
We have to call
you
it.
you said?
We have to call it. Like we have to call the function method.
This is the calling we are doing here. We are calling it inside an HTML stuff. This is where we are calling the button, the v on click get random user.
And we're not supposed to use brackets like close end and close bracket.
No, no, I'm not supposed to use a bracket. Get random user was accessed during that, but not defined as an instant. Coming is it inside the method? It's inside the method now, right? Method gets random user. Then I'm going to log in this. Oh, sorry. I'm supposed to say methods, not method. You get it's a plural form. Remember, I'm not
Okay,
defining just one method.
one method,
It's
yes, sorry.
multiple methods, right? So when I click, you can see that the name is being logged on my console. Can you see it? Let me reload the page again. Just look at my console very well. So by Jesus, I've covered the button. So by the time sorry, please just look at it very well. By the time I click on this, you can see the name. God bless. It has been printed on my console.
Yes, yes, I can
Okay,
see it.
so that's for that. So remember methods plural form because I'm not defining just one method. I might have up to 2 to 5 methods. So if I come back to my HTML. What I want is that I want this to show that when I click, everything will be changed. Both the what's it called? Both the first name, last name, email, button, color, and everything. So all I need to do, let me just go back to my script, right? Now for this random user, I want to do something. I want to set the this.name. Remember, I will now have access to this.name, right? I want to set it to something else. I want it to change to let me change it to let me say Jane, right? Then I want to change this dot email. Sorry, this dot first name rather. This dot first name, right? Then I want to change this dot last name to be do, right? And I also want to change this dot email to be equal to Jane do at gmail.com. And also I want to change what's it called? This dot picture, right, to something. Then I want to change this dot gender to female, right? Now, for the URL, let me just grab the same URL. But there's something I will do after grabbing the URL, just to what's wrong with this stuff? Just to paste this guy over here. But now I'm not going to use men, I'll use women, right? So by the time I save, and I don't think I'm supposed to write this to chat, but let me just see. By the time I save and come back here, okay, it worked. So that's for that. Can you see? So now let me reload the page again. By the time I click, you can see that it's changing. But now this thing is just once, but that's not what I want. You get? I just want to be sure that the what's it called? The method I'm creating, the method is working and so on and so forth. That's why I did something like this. So since this is working, remember at first it was Jean Doe. When I click, it changed to Jane Doe. The color of the stuff changed, and also the email and so on and so forth. But now what I want to do, like I said, I want to fetch from an external API, right? So this is the API we're using, random API.me. So first of all, let's go back. Now it's now time to write what's it called? JavaScript async await method, right? Now remember we're fetching from an external API and this gets random user is the function that is doing it. Okay, so there are two ways to do this. I can decide to create another method and call that method inside of this get random user, or I can just create it here directly. So I can say async. Remember, it's an asynchronous process, right? I will now say response should be equal to await fetch. Is that not so? Then I will paste my what's it called? My random API. Sorry, I think I need to make this bigger so that it will be clear. So okay, good. This is what I'm doing. So I'll paste this guy here. There's no need to go to portrait or anything. So sorry, that not there, not there. Okay, good. So this is what I'm working with. Uh, so just random user.me slash API. Are you following? So after this, right? Remember, after your response, you need to get a data. So you say const data should be equal to await again. Remember, we did this on the first class. So I want to await the rest.json, right? Then after that, let's console log this data and let's see what we're getting. So if I split my screen, reload this page. By the time I click on the button, you can see what I'm getting. I clicked twice. That's why this thing is printing twice. I have a usual object. I'm coming. Let me just reload again. to make sure we're clear. By the time I click on the button, I have just a huge object, just one single stuff, right? And what is inside that object? I have results and info. Is that not so? Now let me just open it. I have results and info. Now, if you notice very well, there's what we call destructuring. I don't know if you get my point. So let me just show you something. I can come back here and say something like const result, right? This should be equal to data dot. Remember, it's an object now, data dot result, right? If I do this, I can now come back and console log data. So by the time I do this, reload my page, watch what will happen. Oh. Then, sorry, this is too small. Then by the time I click here, you notice that I'm getting, sorry, I'm not supposed to console log data, I'm supposed to console log results rather. So please take note, take note. So watch what will happen. By the time I click, you notice that the result is not coming out. I'm not getting the result, which is an array, right? But now, I don't want to do that. Hmm? What I want to do is this. I want to pull the result out of this. So I can use a destruction method to get this. So I can do something like this. Sorry. Instead of me to pass through this step, I can omit this step. Then instead of me to print data, I can just pull result out of this guy. You get? So I'll console log result again. It will still give me the same thing. By the time I reload, then click on this guy, you notice that I'm still getting the same result. So which of them do you prefer? Should we do it this way, or we should just follow the normal pattern for understanding sake? Yeah, because this way now you might be confused later on. How do I get result? And so what I'm doing is just destructuring. Remember, when you're having object, you can put an object. You get? So what I'm doing is destructuring. Or so let me just hear from you. Should we go this way, or I should just write everything now? Please, I want to get your response.
Can you hear me?
You said I can't hear you. Your voice is very low.
I think we can go the long way. Like instead of using the
Okay,
structure,
let's go.
by
Okay, okay, okay. For better understanding. Okay, that's cool. So let me just do it this way. Now, okay, console log result. Now, if you look at this result, I'm also having. So let me, Jesus, I must reload this thing. So if you look at the result I'm having, sorry, localhost 5500. So if you look at what's it called, the result I'm having, the result, um, no, sorry, that was not our. This is not the one we're using. That was the one that is running on live server. So let me copy part again. So I'll paste this guy. If you look at what we are, Jesus, what's wrong with this stuff? Copy part, right? Then paste. Okay, good. Now, if you look at, if by the time I click, if you notice, this is an array of objects, right? The array consists of just one object. So I can go back to my JavaScript. Instead of saying this and this, I can decide to do something like results, right? Bracket zero. Remember, bracket zero will give me the first object of every array. Remember, you are getting it by index. So by the time I print, you can see that I'm just getting object directly, which is what I want. Now, I don't need to, okay, let me still leave the console log. Now, let's see the properties that we're given. Now, the properties that we're given are email, date of birth is also here. You can add date of birth later, convert it to normal JavaScript datetime and so on, but we'll leave it apart. So I have what's it called? I have date of sorry, I have email, right? So I can as well come back instead of writing email now. I can do something like what's it called? I can say um results. Let me not call it results. Let me call it singular form result. Let me call it result. Let me call it result. Remember, it's a variable name. Result.email. Then for the name is inside a name stuff, and that is just an object on its own. So I can do something like name.first. For my first thing, I will say result.name.first. Right? Then for the last name, I can do something like this. Result.name.last. Right? Then for the images, then what about for the image? What am I supposed to do? Dot picture, right? Now inside of this picture object, I have large, medium, and thumbnail. So I will make use of large. So I can do something like this just to remove this guy. The reason why my codes are like this is because I'm using Prettier for formatting codes, but nevertheless, sha, So I'll say result dot what's it called? Result dot picture. Then I'll say dot large since I'm using large. I want to use large. Then for the gender, I'll just say result dot gender. Is that not so? Because gender is on its own. So I'll just say result dot gender. Okay,
Sorry,
I know why
why are you putting the this the picture and this the gender? Why were they in brackets previously?
they were in bracket because of my prettier. That was what I was just saying.
Okay.
And I noticed that it's because I didn't put this semicolon. See, if I remove the semicolon and I save, okay, it was because I didn't put the semicolon. But when I added the semicolon and save, those brackets went off. So it's just my prettier. Yeah. So I think we are pretty much done with this. So now let's test this out. Let's see what we'll get. By the time I click, um, generating a random user. Can you see it? Now, if you notice, the first time the image did not change. That was because you know how image are. The image are kind of stubborn, but now they are changing. Now this is Sophie Abraham, pink, then another female. I want to okay. This is a male. Can you see? So this is just a random user generator using this VueJS. Now, if you notice, now what do we just do? We combine some method. Now, what are those methods we combine? We combine them inside of my Vue.js. After creating app, I created the data method, which is a function that returns an object or anything. Then after that, I created method. Then inside of this method, I just use get random. I created a function called get random user. Then first of all, I just set this to other stuff before fetching my data. So I just want to be sure that it's working locally before fetching from an API. Remember, if it works locally, by the time you're fetching from an API, it won't be difficult again because you have less debugging to do. So that's for that. So I can remove my console. Then let's go back to the index.html. On my index.html, what did we use? You notice we made use of what's it called, div of id of app, which is normal, then random user gen. Then we made use of the vbind, right? We binded it with class. Remember, vbind is mostly used with an attribute. You get, remember, class is an attribute. So by the time you bind, you get the class you need. Then the same thing with my image, vbind source, right? Then get the picture. Then for first name, use the variable. You don't need to do anything, just use your double curly bracket. Then for images, then for button, we're using vbind as well for button. We got the class, right? Which is gender. Now, the reason why I'm using this gender class, remember, is because I give a gender class in my CSS. I just want to add a little bit more style. The gender should tell something. You get. So we can decide to add the date of birth. If I want to add date of birth, I can add something like DOB, right? And this DOB, I can give something like let me just say the sorry, I want to use a JavaScript. Okay, first of all, let me just use normal first, right? 12 1999. Let me just do something like this, right? So I can now come back here. So let me add this guy to my after the email. Let me just say date of birth, right? So let me just say date of birth. So you just to put DOB here. Let's see if it will appear. So if I see reload, that's what I'm getting. The date of birth is showing. So how do I now style it? Or how do I make it look better? So I can come here, right? And I'll do something like this dot dob. I want this to be result dot dob, right? By the time I save, reload this page, click on it, you can see if you look what that Jesus. Okay, remember that date of birth is inside an object the other time. So let me just console log the result so that you see it. If you notice, the date of birth was inside an object, I guess. Let's see. Let me make this guy big. So if I come to my console, let me reload again. Okay, can you see my date of birth? This is DOB. Remember, it's inside an object, right? So inside of this object, I have dates. So I can now do something like this. It's just to say results.dob.date, right? So if I do this now, that will give me the correct date of birth. So let me reload. By the time I click, you can see that my date of birth is changing correctly. So this is 1982, but I don't like that time zone. You can convert the time. You get. So I can do something like new date dot let me see. So a new date, right? So I can now put this date inside of it. Remember JavaScript date method now. I want to convert this date to date time string. I'll say dot to date string. Let's see. So by the time I reload, that's what I'm getting. Friday, September. Okay, I think this is even better. Friday, September, March 04. Okay, okay. So let me just take one of these guys. I think this is better. If you want to add the time, you can also add time, but don't need to do all of this stuff. So let me just say Sunday. Oh, okay, let me leave it. Call you back. I'll call you back. I'm in the class. I guess you are with me, right? So that's for that. That's for that. So you can see the date of birth is changing. Uh, can you hear me? Please say something so that I will know you are hearing me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but there's a background noise and your network, you were disconnected for a while.
Yeah, yeah. A call came in, so I just had to. Yeah. The background noise. I think it's the fan that's on there, and the fan is kind of far from me. So I don't know. Maybe if some of this now, third person to switch it up. So, like I said, that's just that for this simple application, simple random user generator. But from the doing this project now, getting an understanding of how some of these things work. You get. So now, like sorry, the last thing I was doing before the network went off was this date, right? So I was converting the date. So you can decide to add the age and all that stuff, but there's no need for that. So if you have a question, ask before we go back to the W2 score and see some more stuff. So while you are asking your question, let me be pushing this to GitHub so that I won't forget. Then you guys should expect an assignment on your LMS today. So do you have a question?
No, sir.
Yes?
No, sir. So I just want to ask, the async and wait method, is it the same thing for trying to fetch data from all APIs? It's the same thing, like nothing changes.
I'm coming, I'll answer your question. You say the async and await. You wonder if it's the same thing
If it's
with
always the same, trying to fetch
if it's
data
always the
from,
same.
yes, is it the same
Okay. It's the
data?
same, it's the same thing they are doing. Now, what is it used for? It's used to get data from an external source or an API. Now, let me just tell you something about JavaScript. When JavaScript was coming up, I think the first method of getting, I don't know if it's the first, but one old method of getting information or fetching data from an API is to use AJAX, asynchronous JavaScript and XML. So that one, I think you write different things like SHRO. Like the day I tried learning it, I couldn't learn it. Remember, I'm no developer, I'm a modern developer, so I need to learn the modern things. So I think after some time, then the .then.res method came in. Then before the async await, I guess. So all of them are doing the same thing. You get it's just to get information from external source, finish, or to fetch data from an API. And if you look, async and await is more easy. Like it's very easy. Sometimes I think I find it difficult to remember the .then.res method. It's a two-step process like this too, but I sometimes find it difficult. If I want to use any of it, though, I will just go to Google, then search. I will see it because it's just a two-step method. But you see, the async and await is very easy, just like you are creating a function. Remember, if you want to create a function, what will you do? Just observe. Let me close this guy. I've put the code to GitHub. If I want to create a function, say just to come here and do something like this function, greet, right? Then by the time I do this, Then I can now do something like console log. Let me say hello. So now, if I want to use async and await now, it's just the same thing. I can say
Wait, can you
function.
share your screen?
Oh, sorry. This thing. Sorry. I'm sorry. This thing has really gone off. Okay. Coming. Sorry about that. So sharing now. I guess you can see. I guess you can see it. Can you see it?
I can see your screen.
Okay, good. Now, if I come back here, remember if I want to create a function, I can say function greet, right? After creating a function called greet, it's just to do something inside the function, or I will do a return statement. Is that also? Now, if I want to do async and await method, very simple. All I need to do is just to come here and say function async, right? Then do this. Then anything I'm writing inside, I need to await it. I can set a variable const. Let me say hi variable equal to await. You get, and I'll now await my fetch method, but I can't just say hi as the name of a variable, so it's better to call it response or res for short. You get, then after await, I will fetch something. I will say http, then fetch from an API, and so on and so forth, right? Await. Why is this thing giving me an error? It's funny. Okay, async. Okay, again, another thing I sometimes face difficulty with is function. Like, I'm used to arrow function, so let me see something. Remember arrow function? I'll say let me see greet, for instance. I'll say this should be equal to something like this, right? Then I'll do console log hello. Is that not so? So that's my function. Now, if I want to do it using, if I want to fetch using arrow function, I'll say const get data, right? Async equal to async, right? So this is my fat arrow now. And I can now say const res equal to await fetch, right? So after awaiting my fetch, this is my http slash API URL, something like that. API URL, right? So that'll be the end of the application from then. I'll say const data equal to await. Now what you are getting, you are supposed to convert it to JSON. Remember, JSON is the should I say the standard form of communication between server and client. You get, then I can now return my data or console log my data. You can see that it's very similar, right? So if you look at this, this is just a regular function. But when you want to do it with this, is this. You get. But I think for the .den.res method, let me see if I can still remember. If I can't remember, let me not just for my hand. Let me just go. I was here. Let me see. If I type JSON type equal placeholder, let me just JSON placeholder. I think that is over here. So let's see. Can you see the method? So it's just to fetch then dot. You get. So it's just to fetch. What's it called? Let me paste it. Can you see? It's just to fetch then dot then. Then this will take a callback function, return something dot then again, take another callback. So I think I remembered it now. So if I say fetch, okay now. If I say fetch, right? Then I'll put my API URL. So let me just copy this same line of code, right? Let me paste it over here. If I'm using the .den.res method, then I'll say .den, right? Now this will be a response. Now I want to return something res JSON, right? And I'll say .den, right? And this will take data, so I can now return data. So I think this is just a two-step process as well. Can you see? But the thing is that based on the fact that I'm used to what's it called, arrow function, writing of this and that, I can easily remember this one. What's it called? I can easily remember this one compared to this. I don't know if you got my point. Even if I don't remember, let me say for instance, I didn't put my async at the right place. Maybe I put it somewhere here. It will tell me that, oh, there's an error there. So I will know how to now write my code. It's just to come here and put my async over here. You get. One thing about JavaScript, VS Code, when you make a mistake, they will highlight the mistake for you so that you can easily debug. You get. So you can see. So this for the fetch API. If you look, it's kind of easier, yes, sir. But sometimes I really find it difficult to remember it. You get. So that's for that. Then also, I want to know why was I not able to use a regular function to do this? And see now, let me just say something. I'm coming. I
Async
want
should
to.
come before the function.
You said?
Because the async did not come before the function.
Okay. Can you see it now? So let me see. Async. Okay. I don't think that's the reason. But if you look, it's still giving me this API URL. What could be? The async is supposed to come here. Oh, I've known the reason. I didn't give the function a name. Do you get? So I'm supposed to say get data. So I'm supposed to do something like this. I'm supposed to give the function get data. It still didn't work this way. Let me see. Get data. Oh, sorry. It's supposed to be like this. Then the async is supposed to be at the front. I must get this thing today. Okay, good. This is the function. The async is supposed to be at the front. Then the function is also supposed to have a name. So can you see it now? So that's it. Thank you very much. So I sometimes find it difficult to remember this as well. I'm really used to that arrow function and async and wait method. So that's for that. So that's it. Is there any other question again? I wanted us to do a revision of this stuff. So like I said, I've pushed this guy to GitHub. What's it called? So if I go back to my GitHub page, this is hidden somewhere. So let me just get it. If I go back to my GitHub page, right? Come back to Zero V project. So the project is here. You can just go over it later on. Then those that were not in class, we can share it with them as well. So let me just paste it in on the Slack channel. No, this is not the Slack channel. It's hidden somewhere over here. So let me just say Slack. Come in. So let me put it inside of the front end. Oh, I want to paste it in back end. I'm sorry. Let me delete. I want to paste it in front end now. So okay, so that's for that. Then now, so is there any other question before we go back to the documentation and just do some revision, right?
No question.
Okay, no question. So that's for that. So let's go back to this page. Remember, yesterday we've studied what's it called? This show. We say the show directive is similar to the if, but the difference is that for the if tends to create a new HTML element, while the show directive just sets a display property to that element such that it will show or not. You get? So a display of block and display of none, something like that, something similar. So we demonstrated it as well. So the V4, the for directive is used when we want to perform loop. You get? So what will happen now? I will just go and create a local loop. I was thinking that this project will involve using a loop and so on and so forth, but there was no loop. So let's go and create our own object. So if I come back here, now I'm not doing it under here, I'm doing it under yesterday's zone. You get? So this is yesterday's work. What do I do now? So let me just comment these guys, right? I also want to comment these guys. So inside of this, let me just return data as an array, and this array will be an array of objects. Okay, let me not use object first. Let me just use normal string, right? So let me say God bless Freeman. Let me say Lancelot, right? So we said the for directive is used when we want to iterate through an array. So all I need to do now, I will get rid of this guy. All I need to do now is to come back here and do something like this. I'll say let me say div, right? And I'll say v for, right? And I will say for x in data. So this x is just a variable name, you get? So I want to print x. So let's see what this will give me. So I'm going to right click, copy path, because something is already running on my live server. So can you see what I'm having? God bless Freeman Lancelot. You get? So that's for that. For x in data. So if I want to do something like getting data from an external source, remember when the data is coming to come in form of arrays and objects. So I now do something like this. Let me just comment this guy. So I'll say data, right? Then I'll get an array, then I'll get an object. I'll say name, God bless, right? Then let me just see God bless Ejo. Sorry. And I'll say email vwfuma@gmail.com. I can do something like gender. I'll say mail. Right, so let me duplicate this. So that it will be up to 3. So now I can now come here and do something like John Doe for the second one. So John. Let me say John Doe over here. So this will be female. Then this will be John Doe. Right? Then this will be John Doe. Now, if I want to look through this, if I reload this page, what I will get? You get, I'm getting the object out directly, but I don't want that. Rather, I want to do something like this. For inside of this div, I want to get h1, right? I want to get h2, and I want to get p. Now this p, I will just put my gender there, so that will be x dot gender, right? Then for the h1, I want to see x dot name. Right, so this x, you can decide to use something else. Let me say for person in data, things like that. Now say x dot email, right? So by the time I save and reload the page, you can see what I'm getting. So you can decide to design this card and give it sort of your style and everything. So take note of that. Then the next thing we'll look at is that's for the default directive. So later on, you can just go through. You see where they look through different objects and so on and so on and so forth. Then for event, what are events used for? We'll talk about event. So the directives for event is the on directive, whereby if I want to perform an action or something that will be called data that are used together with methods and so on and so forth. Right? So you can do things like counter, stuff like that, and all of those stuff. So you can add so that's just it. You can create your method, like I said, create a method and call it using the event and so on and so forth. So that's on. Then I talk about on again. So we see the same thing, just go through it, it's easy to understand. Then Jesus Christ. And then I talk about method again, which we've already looked at. Just create your method and call it inside. So this is the right text. Remember, we've done something like this from the project. Then event modifiers is what I'm running to. Now, what are event modifiers? When we say to modify, it means to add more what should I put it, more functionality to it, or yes, add more functionality. In other words, it should do something or prevent it from doing something. You get. Now remember, if you create a button, an alert button, what will happen? You notice that the button is supposed to alert something each time you click on the button, right? But if you are using this guy now, let me say the once modifier. By the time you use your once modifier, that alert will just appear once when you click on the button. So there's no need to demonstrate it. It's quite easy when you're doing your revision, just look through it and so on and so forth. So there are different modifiers that are key up, key down, key press. So when you're doing something like search or you want to keep track of the numbers of times you typed on something, you can use the key up and so on and so forth. So these are modifiers, right? Then there's also one, okay, key up, like when you press a key and remove down from the key. So you want to get which particular key that is pressed. So just go through this later, you will enjoy reading it. There's something I'm looking at. Okay, I think that's for forms to prevent default behavior of form. So for the forms, we'll do form when we are doing what's it called? When we are doing pure VJS stuff with CLI by next week. Again, so that's when we talk about form, because there are a lot of things inside of that form I want to know, like things to prevent default. So I think there's V model and so on and so forth. So we'll look at those ones later. So for now, I will look for an assignment to drop. Right, this CSS binding we've done it, don't forget. So most of these things we've done them, like we what's it called? When we are doing the VJS here, like we'll see more of it and how to use them and so on and so forth. So if you have a question, please ask before we call it a day. If you have a question, please ask. before we call it a day. Is there any question?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
That yesterday we did something like the CSS binding where we did something for the class tell me. I mean
Okay. Yeah. We did it
the
today as well. Now, see an example. If I want to add the CSS class,
mail class. Oh, use vbind.
yes, that's what we did here. Can you see it? Make class. Then when we get to this place, when I sorry that thing. Okay, so this is the file. Now we'll go to the HTML. We'll now use vbind class. Then we'll now call that class. You get. So I can decide to use style itself instead of using class. Like if I come here now, I can decide to do something like this. Vbind. Then I will now use style attributes. Then give my style. But I don't think that one really. I don't think that one is really doing something serious. Instead, this class method is better. Because I want to code it dynamically. Remember when you're writing your what's it called, your style inside of your HTML, it means you just want to use it once. But if you want to make it dynamic, it's better you give a class and call that class. If you look at this one now, it's dynamic. Whenever it's male, to give you the blue color. Whenever it's female, to give you the pink. So is there any other question? Question before we go? Is there any question? All right.
Use the visual
Okay,
in
seems like
class.
you said
Visual.
revision.
Visual
Okay, the visual. Okay, like I said, let me show you, let me just demonstrate the visual for you. There's something. Okay, let me just demonstrate it. Now the visual is used just the same way as the v if statement, but there's a little difference. Let me just explain it and show you something. I'm going to be using that yesterday's file. Now look at something. Just look at what I'm having. Now let me uncomment this is true. And come back. Now look at this place. I want to use visual to bring these guys. So I can say visual. Sorry. I can say something like div dot v show. Sorry, I don't do it not like that. So let me create a div. Now visual is just like the v if, like I said. It's used to render something conditionally. Now I can do something like this div. I'll say visual. I will say this visual now is doing something like if this is true, or if it evaluates to true, show me this thing. Yes, don't show me. I don't know if you get my point. But now watch what is happening. If let me go back to my let me open my console so that you see something. I'm coming. I want to do this side by side. I think this will be better. Sorry. Sorry. So just watch what will happen. Let me change this to pure responsive so that it will be okay. Good. Now, if you look, I'm using visual, right? And that guy is set to true or false. If you look at this now, this guy on my screen is set to true, right? And visual is saying if it evaluates to true, make it true, like make it show. You get? But now, watch what will happen. That's not even the point I'm going to. If I come to my elements, you notice that inside my div, can you see what is happening? There is a div there. You get? But now watch what will happen. If I go back to my JavaScript and change that into false and I use visual is simply saying don't show this. It will now give a CSS styling of display none to it. Just watch what will happen. By the time I come back here and I change this to false, I save, come back, reload. Can you see what is happening? I now have a display of none. Can you see it? So the show method kind of uses CSS property. Unlike the true, if it's true method now, that thing will be destroyed from the DOM automatically, like it will not be there. I don't know if you get my point. So that's just it. If I'm using VIF, now let me just go back and demonstrate VIF. If I come back here and change this to VIF, I don't want to use visual, VIF. Remember when we use visual, the stuff was still on the DOM. But now if I reload this, now I'm using VIF. Can you see that guy on the DOM? It's no longer on the DOM. You get? But if I go back and change it to true, it will now create the element. You get? If I change this guy to true, it will create the element back. So that's just it. That's the difference between visual and the v-if. The v-if tends to destroy the element and create it, while the visual tends to set the style property of that element to display of none. Get if it's not true, then if it's true, to normal render it or change it to display of block. So is there any other question?
No.
Okay, so with this I think we are good to go, right?
Yes.
So I pushed that code to GitHub. I also dropped the GitHub URL on the Slack channel, front end Slack channel. Then what will happen is this: I will look for an assignment, like not too difficult, not too hard. You get. So I'll look for an assignment that you guys will do. It will be on your LMS and it will be graded. So I wish you the best. Just when you, what's your name on Slack? Is this the same as Edu?
No. It's
What's
online.
your
You're
name?
lying.
Okay. If you can text me, just text me on Slack. Because I just want to like monitor your work since you are the only one present. I want to monitor it. Just like you get.
Oh, okay, no problem.
All right, now no problem. Take care. We'll see by next week. I will look for a convenient time. I don't know when these guys are normally online because I don't know. It seems like in the afternoon people are usually out and so on and so forth. So I don't really know. But nevertheless, the recording of the class is still there. And if anybody is having any question, they can ask me again. So bye for now.